Hello everyone, welcome to my channel India Gate. This is Nandani Sharma, and this video is most important for the NIC or NIELIT to post, that is your scientific B and scientific technical assistant A. So basis of the syllabus of these two posts, computer network is the most important subject. So here I am representing the 55 plus MCQs with solution of the computer network. Now come to the first question. So first question is written like, choose the best matching between list 1 and list 2. So here list 1 is given like data link layer, list network layer and our transport layer. Now come to the list 2. Here giving this some statement with respect to list 1. So here first statement, ensure reliable transport of data over the physical point to point link. Second statement, encodes or decodes data for physical transmission. Third, allow end-to-end communication between the two processes. And fourth, routes data from one network to next. So these are the four statements with regarding the first list. Okay, so we know that here the data link layer is suitable for the first in the second list. Why? Because here data link layer is ensure the reliable transport which is point to point. Okay, so first match P to first, okay, in the second list. Now come to the Q, that is network layer. It is going to be fourth, means your routes the network node to next. So this is your correct match for the Q. Now third is your transport layer, and transport layer is what is work of the transport layer. It's simply end-to-end communication between the two processes. So third option goes to R. So we say that option A is correct, means firstly is representing by P is linked to 1, Q is linked to 4 and R is linked to 3. So this is the perfect match for the given question. Now come to the next question. The maximum window size of the data transmission using the selective reject protocol with n bit frame sequence number is. So we know that in the case of the selective reject protocol, the sequence number will be 2 to power of n minus 1. So option B is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Here question is given like, and this question is not MCQ type but it may be MCQ type. So this is expected question which is asked in the NIELIT examination. So here question is asked like, a link has a transmission speed of 10 to power of 6 bits per second. It uses data packets of size 1000 byte each. Assume that the acknowledgement has negligible transmission delay and that the propagation delay is the same as the data propagation delay. Now we assume that the efficiency, and here efficiency is given like the stop and wait protocol is used in their side and the efficiency is exactly 25%. Then the value of the one-way propagation delay in millisecond is what? So come to the solution of this question. So solution and correct answer for this question is also given here. Like, we know that the protocol is used here, that is your stop and wait, and in the case of the stop and wait, efficiency is equal to 1 upon 1 plus A, and A is representing like your propagation delay upon transmission delay, and here transmission delay is already given. Okay, and here efficiency is 25%. Okay, so basis of the given efficiency, it is going to be equal to this expression. Now just put the all the values and equation in this verb and we get the propagation delay is 12 milliseconds. So option So 12 millisecond is your correct answer. So this type of the question is also asked in the NIC. Now come to the next question. A host is connected to a department network which is the part of a university. Okay, the university networks in terms is the part of the internet. Okay, the largest network in which Ethernet address of the host is unique. So there are four options, option A, B, C, but here largest network, talk about the largest network. So we know that internet is your largest network, okay, and smallest network is your LAN, okay, local area network. So option D is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. In a network, the LAN connected via bridges, okay, packets are sent from one LAN to another through intermediate bridge. Since more than one path may exist between two LANs, packets may have routed through multiple bridges. Why is the spanning tree algorithm used for bridge routing? So why we use the spanning tree algorithm for the bridge routing? So there is one of the most important reason for the using of the spanning tree algorithm, that is your to avoid the loop of the routing paths. So option B is your correct answer. Okay, now come to the next question. Which of the following statement is true about the CSMA-CD? Means your carrier sense multiple access with collision detection. Okay, so there are four options, option A, B, C and D. So option A states IEEE 802.11 wireless LAN uses CSMA-CD protocol. So no, it is false. Why? Because here wireless LAN is used CSMA-AD, that is collision avoidance, not is collision detection. Okay, now here come to the next option and statement, that is Ethernet is not based on the CSMA-CD protocol. So it is also false statement. Ethernet is a CSMA-CD protocol. Now next statement, CSMA-CD is not suitable for the high propagation delay network like satellite network. So it is correct, absolutely correct. Okay, because for the satellite network here wireless network is used, not the carrier sense detection, collision detection protocols are used. So option C is your best suitable and correct option for this question. Now come to the next question. Which of the following statement is false regarding a bridge? Now here you know about the bridge properties and characteristics and knowledge about the bridge. So it is your hardware device, okay, firstly, and according to first option, bridge is operated layer 2 device. So yes, it is operator layer 2, that is your data link layer. Okay, next option, that is bridge reduce collision detection domain. Yes, it is also true. Now next option, that is bridge is used to connect two or more LAN segments. Yes, because this is the work of the bridge. Now option D, here bridge reduce broadcast domain. No, it is not used to reduce the broadcast domain. So it is your false statement. So according to the given question, here we need to identify the false regarding the bridge, false statement. So option D is your correct answer for this question. Now come to the next question. In a Ethernet, when Manchester encoding is used, the bit rate is, so in this question the Manchester encoding is used, then the bit rate is half the word rate. So option A is your correct. Okay, 1/2 word rate. Okay, so option A is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. This question is already asked in the previous year paper of the NIC, so you should consider also this questions. Okay, next question. Consider the CSMS-CD, a network that transmits data at a rate of 100 Mbps, means 10 to power of 8 bits per second over a 1 kilometer, that is 1000 meter cable with no repeaters. If the minimum frame size required for this network is 1250 bytes, what is the signal speed kilometer per second in a cable? So there are also 4 options. Now we directly come to the solution of this question. So here solution is given like, we know about the bandwidth is already given, that is here 100 Mbps, that is converted into the bits per second like this. Okay, distance is already given like 1 kilometer, that is 1000 meter. Now for CSMS-CD, transmission delay is greater than equal to 2 propagation delay. Okay, multiple of. Now put all the values and we get the correct answer for the signal speed, that is your what? That is your 20,000 kilometer per second. Okay, now come to the next question. Which one of the following protocol is not used to resolve one form of the address to another one? So here first option DNS. So domain name system is already used for the address. Okay, address resolution. So it is also correct option. Next, ARP reverse address reverse protocol. So it is also used for the one form to another form. Now come to the third option, that is DHCP. So DHCP, that is dynamic host configuration protocol. It is not used to resolve the one form of the address to another form of address. Okay, so option C is your correct answer for this question. Now come to the next. In an Ethernet local area network, okay, LAN, which one of the following statement is true? So there are 4 statements. Statement 1, a statement stop to sense the channel once it is start transmitting a frame. Option B, the purpose of the jamming signal is the pad the frames that are the smaller than the minimum frame size. And here C, the statement continue to transmit the packets even after collision is detected. Now come to the fourth option, because here we need to find the correct means true statement, and all above 3 statements are false. So come to the fourth, that is D statement. Here D is the exponential back-off mechanism reduce the probability of collision on the retransmission. Yes, this is your correct and true statement. So option D is your. Which of the following assertion is false about the internet protocols? So your first option is given. A, it is possible for a computer to have multiple IP addresses. So this is also true statement. Now come to the second statement, that is given like IP packets, internet protocol packets from the same source to same destination can take different routes in the network. Yes, it is possible. Next, here given IP ensures that a packet is forwarded if it is unable to reach its destination within number of hops. So it is also the true statement. Now we found only the false statement. Now come to the fourth, that is here fourth given like the packet source can't be sent the route of an outgoing packet. The route is determined only by the routing table in the routers on the fee. So this is your false statement. So we say that option D is your false. Now come to the next question. Which of the following functionalities must be implemented by a transport protocol above the network protocol. So there are 4 options, option A, B, C and D. Okay, so we know that in the case of the transport protocol, only the end-to-end connectivity is possible. So option D is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Which of the following is not true? Not true means false. Okay, with respect to transparent bridge and routers. So here first option A, both bridge and routers selectively forward data packets. So this is also true statement. Okay, it is forward the selective forward data packets. Okay, next here option B is defined as a bridge uses IP addresses while a router uses MAC address. So it is definitely wrong. Why? Because we know that router is work on the network layer, which is your logical network, and here root is work on the data link layer, which is your hardware layer. So it is absolutely wrong and not true statement according to given question. So option B is your correct answer. Okay, now come to the next question. Which one of the following statement is false? So here first option is given like a TCP client is a minimum communication rate. This is totally false. Why? It is giving the not a minimum communication rate. It ensured in order to delivery, it react congestion by the reducing the center window size, and it implies retransmission to compensate for the packet losses. So these are the true statement, but it is your false statement. So option A is your correct answer for this question. Now come to the next question. In TCP, a unique segment number assigned to each, that is called, so this is called the message. Okay, so message is your correct answer. Option D is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. A subnet has been assigned a subnet mask of the 255.255.255.192. What is the maximum number of the host that can belong the subnet? So basis of this subnet, we have the total number of subnets are 6, and according to the given formula, that is here 2 to power n minus 2. So basis when we putting the value of n is equal to 6, so we get here 2 to power of 6 minus 2, that is equal to 64 minus 2, that is equal to 62. So option C is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. In the TCP IP protocol suite, which one of the following is not a part of the IP header? So we found only which is the not a part of the IP header. So here destination port address is not the part of the IP header. Here destination IP address is include, source IP address is include, and fragmentation offset is also includes, but not include the destination port address. Okay, because here TCP IP addresses work on the logical network, so here we not need to physical working. Okay, so option D is your incorrect. Now come to the next question. Which of the following statement is true? So we found only the true statement. Now come to the first statement A. Both Ethernet frame and IP packet include checksum field. No, it is not possible. Both is not include the checksum field. Next statement, Ethernet frame includes a checksum field and IP packet include a CRC field. So it is also false, because here Ethernet frame is include the CRC and here IP is include the checksum. So it is also false. Now come to the next true statement. So here true statement includes Ethernet frame includes CRC field and IP address packet includes checksum. So this is your correct and true statement. So option C is your correct and others are false statement. Okay. Now come to the next question. For which one of the following reason जो internet protocol IP uses the time to alive TTL field in the IP datagram header? So there are four options. Option A, ensure packet reach destination within that time. Option B, discard packet that reach later than that time. Option C, prevent packet from looping indefinitely. So option C is correct, because here TTL, that is time to alive, is used to prevent the packet from the looping indefinitely. So option C is your correct work of the and use of the TTL. Now come to the next question. What is the maximum size of the data that the application layer can passes on the TCP layer below? So we easily say that the maximum size of the data is any size. There is not defined the size of the data which is passed through the transmission control protocol. Okay. So option A is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Which of the following system call result in the sending of SYN, that is synchronization packets? So option D is your correct, because here the system call results in connection. So connection is used for the sending SYN packets. So option D is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. One of the header field in the IP datagram is the time to alive field TTL. Which of the following statement best explain the need for this field? So which is prevent? Now this question is going to be again repeated and we know very well about the answer. It can use to prevent the packet looping. So option D is your correct answer. Okay. So TTL is used for the prevent the packet looping. Okay. This is your correct answer. You should remember this point, which is most important for you. Okay. Next question. A layer 4 firewall, a device that can look at all the protocol header up to the transport layer, cannot. Okay. So there are four options. Option A, block entire HTTP transmission during 9 PM and 5 AM. Option B, block all ICMP traffic. Option C, stop incoming traffic from a specific IP address but allow outgoing traffic to the same IP address. And option D, block TCP traffic from a specific user on a multi-user system during the 9 PM and 5 AM. So option D is your correct, because here we found only the basis of the TCP, which is not done by the TCP. So option D is not done by the TCP. Okay. Next question. Which of the following transport layer protocol is used to support electronic mail? So here, which type of the TCP layer? So here, transport layer protocol is your TCP. Okay. So TCP is used for the support electronic mail, not the SMTP, IP and UDP. Okay. You should remember this point. Here transport layer protocol is asked from you. Okay. Not the other protocol. Next question. Which one of the following socket IP API functions convert an unconnected active TCP socket into the passive socket? So correct answer is option C. So here listen socket is used to convert unconnected active TCP socket into a passive socket. So option C is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. A host A on TCP IP version 4 network A send an IP datagram D to host B, also on TCP IP version 4 network B. Assume that no error occurred during the transmission of D. When D reaches B, which of the following IP address fields may be different from that original datagram D? Okay, so here 4 options is given. First TTL, that is time to alive, second checksum, and third is your offset, fragment offset. Okay, so here we found the which of the following IP address may be different from the original datagram D. So all of these are the different from the original datagram D. Why? Because we know that TTL is also preventing the packet slope, and here checksum is check the given message is valid or not, error is find or not find. Okay, and here a fragment option is also going to be different basis of the original datagram of the D. So option D is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Suppose to host uses a TCP connection to transfer a large file. Which of the following statement is or false with respect to TCP connection? Okay, so here first option is given. If the sequence number of the segment in M, then sequence number of the subsequent segment is always M plus 1. So this is not true. This is your false statement. Okay, why? Because we know that as the sequence number is M, then it's going to be not be M plus 1. It's maybe the M only. Okay, now here next false statement, that is your third. Why? Because here size of the advertised window never changed during the course of the TCP connection. No, it's changed during the TCP connection. Okay, so here first and third statement is your incorrect. So so correct answer is option B, first and third only, and correct answer, that is option, that is your the number of an acknowledgement byte at the center is always less than or equal to the advertised window. Okay, and correct is your if established round time at any given point of the time is t second. The value of the retransmit timeout is always set to be greater than or equal to t second. Okay, so these are the correct answer. Now come to the next question. Which one of the following fields of an IP header is not modified by the typical IP router? So correct answer is option B, that is source address, which is never be going to be modified. Next question. Identify the correct order in which a server process must invoke the function called accept, bind, listen and receive according to Unix socket API. So here correct sequence and correct order for a service process, that is your option B. Here including the firstly we bind, then listen, that is your connect, accept and receive. Okay, so option B is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Consider a following statement. First statement, TCP connection are full duplex. Second, TCP has no option for selective acknowledgement. Option third, TCP connection are message stream. So we consider here only there are 4 options. Option A, only first is correct. Option B, only first and second are correct. Option C, only second and third are correct. Option D, all of correct. Means, but here we know that only first statement is correct. We know that TCP is your full duplex protocol. Okay, but here TCP is not selective acknowledgement, it is selective corrective. Okay, So basis of the acknowledgement is not here is not used for the acknowledgement. Okay, and third statement, TCP connection are message stream. No, it is byte stream. So byte oriented TCP connection. So here option A is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Which of the following statement is false? So here four statements, statement A, B, C and D, and correct statement for the given question, that is the false statement, is option C. So option C is your incorrect or false statement, because here packet switching requires more per packet process than circuit switching. So it is the incorrect or false statement, because we know that here in the packet switching, there the switching leads to better utilization and bandwidth resources than circuit switching. Okay, and here packet switching results is less variation in the delay than circuit switching. And last correct statement for the packet switching with circuit switching is given like packet switching can lead to reordering unlike the in circuit switching. Okay, so option C is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. A sender is employing public key cryptography to send a secret message to a receiver. Which one of the following is true statement? Okay, so here option A, sender encrypt using the receiver public key. So yes, it is your correct answer. Not going to and moving to below option. Here option A is your correct. Okay, why? Because we know that the encryption and decryption process, when we get sender, they get the encrypt, want to encrypt, it's using the receiver public key. Okay, so option A is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Consider the three command prompt, head and RCPT. Which of the following option indicates correct association of these command with protocol where these are used? So correct answer is option B. Okay, so basis of this command prompt, head and RCPT, firstly used FTP for the prompt, HTTP is used for the head and SMTP is used for the RCPT. Okay, now come to the next question. Count to infinity is a problem associated with. So it is very simple question, that is related of the what? This is related to the your distance vector routing protocol. So option B is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. HELO or port respectively are command from the protocol. So correct answer is option D. In the protocol SMTP, the HELO is used, and here PORT is used for the FTP protocol. Okay, now come to the next question. Where one of the following use UDP as the transport layer protocol? So correct answer is option C. Here in the case of the option C, we used the UDP transport protocol. Okay, and in the case of the HTTP, we use TCP. Telnet is also used TCP, and SMTP is also used TCP protocol, transport protocol. Okay, so option C is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Consider the following statement. Two statement. Here first statement, a hash function, these are often used for the computing digital signature, is an injective, that is 1-to-1. Okay, function. Okay, next question. In encryption technologies such as DES perform a permutation on the element of its input alphabet. Which of the following option is valid for the above two statement? So here first option, both are false. Option B, statement one is true and other is false. Option C, statement second is true and other is false. We know, so here option C is your correct. Why? Because we know that in the case of the hash, many to one, function is used. Okay, and here second statement is your correct. So here first is your false. So option C is your correct answer. Okay, and option. Now come to the next question. The minimum positive integer p such that 3 to power of p mod 17 equal to 1 is. So it is very easy. Why? Because using of the format theorem, we know that 3 to power of 70 minus 1 mod 70 is equal to 1. So when we putting the value of p is equal to 16, then it is going to be possible. So the value of the p is should be 16. So option D is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. A firewall is to be configured to allow hosts in the positive private network to freely open TCP connection and send packet on an open connection. However, it will only allow external host to send packets to existing open TCP connection or connection there that being opened by internal host, but not allow them to open TCP connection to be hosted in a private network. To achieve this minimum capability of the firewall should be that of. So there are 4 options. Option A, a combination circuit. Option B, a finite automation. Option C, a push down automata with 1 stack, and option D, a push down automata with 2 stack. So correct answer is option D, a push down automata with 2 stack. So minimum capability we should require to achieve this capacity for this firewall should have the push down automaton with 2 stacks. So option D is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Consider the following clauses. So here first clause is given like not inherently suitable for the client authentication. So which protocol is used for this? So here we use the SMTP. Okay, SMTP protocol is used to not inherently suitable for the client authentication. Okay, next, not a state sensitive protocol. So here HTTP is not your state sensitive protocol. Next statement, must we operate with more than one server. So here IMAP is used for the more than one servers. Okay, fourth statement and clause, suitable for structured message orientation organization. So here DNS is mostly suitable for this structured message organization. Okay, next, fifth, many may need to port one side for the proper operations. So correct answer is, and correct protocol for this is your FTP, file transfer protocol. Okay, so here a question is asked for this, we also going to solving this question. Okay, so basis of this we get here the option that has the maximum number of correct matches is. So we are already match this because we solve one by one all the questions. So correct is your SMTP, HTTP, IMAP, DNS and FTP. So option D is your correct match for the above clauses. Okay, now come to the next question. Here match the following. So here some protocols are given like SMTP, BGP, TCP and PP. Okay, triple P. So we know that here SMTP is work on the application layer. Okay, because here email is your word, email is your application layer protocol. Okay, so emailing is based on the user interfacing. So due to of this SMTP is work on the application layer. Next, BGP, broader gateway protocol. So it is work on the network layer. Next protocol, that is TCP, it is work on the transport layer. And here point to point tunneling protocol, that is your work on the data link layer. So correct matches for this question is option B. Okay, so option B is your correct match. Now come to the next question. Two popular routing algorithms are distance vector DV or link state, okay, routing protocol. Which one of the following are true? So here statement 1, count to infinity is a problem only with distance vector and not LS routing. So correct, this statement is totally correct, because we know that and already we solved this type of the question in previously. Here we know that the count to infinity problem is come inside the distance vector protocol. Next statement, in LS the shortest path algorithm is run only at one node. No, it is false statement. Next statement, in a DV, that is distant vector protocol, the shortest path algorithm in the run only at one node. So it is also false statement. Now next statement, S4. Here S4 is given like DV require lesser number of network meshes than LS. So option and statement D is your correct. So option D is your correct, that is S1 and S4 is only true statement. Okay, now come to the next question. The total number of key required for set of an individual to be able to communicate with each other using secret key and public key crypto system respectively are. So here correct answer is option C, because in the symmetric key cryptography we use n into n minus 1 by 2, and in the asymmetric cryptography we use 2n, okay, public key cryptography. Okay, now come to the next question. Which one of the following is not a client server application? So it is very easy. We know that the ping is not a client server application and others are client server application. Now come to the next question. Consider the different activities related to email. Here first statement and activities M1 is send an email from mail client to mail server. So which protocol is used for this? So here we use SMTP. Okay, SMTP is used to send a mail from a mail client to mail server. Okay, next here download an email from mailbox server to mail clients, though here using the POP3 protocol. And the next statement, they checking the email in the web browsing. So here we use HTTP. Okay, so here correct option for this question is option C. Here M1 is goes to SMTP, M2 is goes to POP, and option M3 is going to the and match to the HTTP. So option C is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. The protocol data unit, that is PDU, for a application layer in the internet stack is what? So correct answer is option C, that is message. So message is the PDU for the application layer in the internet stack. Okay, which is your modern internet layering stack. Okay, now come to the next question and protocol suite. Consider the following three statements about link state and distance vector routing protocol for a large network with 500 network nodes and 4000 links. So your first statement is given: the computational overhead in a link state protocol is higher than in distance vector protocol. So it is also true. Now come to the next statement. So your next statement is defined as a distance vector protocol with split horizon, avoiding the persistent routing loop but not a link state protocol. So it is false. Next, after a topology change, a link state protocol will coverage faster than a distance vector protocol. Yes, this is also true. So which one of the following is correct about S1, S2 and S3? So we say that option D is correct. Why? Because we know that S1 and S2 are true, but S2 is your false as per the given statements. Okay, now come to the next question. Which of the following are used to segment generate a message digest by a network security protocol? So it is also very easy questions and very most important question. So here protocols and security protocol is given like RSA, SHA1, DES and MD5. So here we used to generate a message digest by the network security protocol. So here Q and S is correct, means here SHA1 and MD5 is used for the network security protocol. Okay, so option C is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Next question, which one of the following is true about the interior gateway routing protocol? Routing information protocol RIP and open shortest path first OSPF. So here we found only the true statement. So we know that RIP uses distance vector protocol and OSPF uses link state protocol. So option A is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. In one of the pair of protocol given below, both are the protocol can use the multiple TCP connection between the same client and the server. Which one of the? So correct answer is option A. Why? Because here HTTP and FTP, there are two connections. In the case of the HTTP, we use here 0.1 version and 1 version. Okay, so there are two versions for the HTTP, and in the case of the FTP is there are also two connections. First is your data connection and second is your control connection. So due to of this reason, option A is your correct answer. Okay, because it's both protocol are used same client and the servers. Okay, now come to the next question. Suppose that every in a group of n people want to communicate secretly with the n-1 other using the symmetric key cryptographic system. The communication between the two persons should not be decodable by the other in the group. The number of keys required in the system as a whole to satisfy the confidentiality requires in. So correct answer is option C. Okay, because we know that in case of the symmetric key cryptography we need at least connection is n into n-1 by 2. So option C is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Anarkali digitally sign a message and send it to Salim. Verify of the signature by the Salim requires. So here we know that Anarkali is your sender and Salim is your receiver. So we need to sender's public key to encrypt the data. So here Anarkali's public key is required. So option A is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. Identify the correct statement in which the following packets are transmitted on the network by the host when a browsing requests a web from a remote server, assuming that the host has just been restarted. So here four option A, B, C and D, and correct answer is option C, because here basis of the given question. DNS is used for the query, TCP is used for the synchronization, and HTTP is used for the GET request. Okay, so option C is your correct answer. Now come to the next question. For the IEEE 80211 MAC protocol for wireless communication, which of the following statement is true? So you have three statements. Statement first, at least 3 non-overlapping channels are available for the transmission. Second, here RTS CTS mechanism is used for the collision detection. And third, unicast frame are acknowledged. So here correct and true statement is only first and third, because we know that in the RTC mechanism we use the collision avoidance, not the detection. So due to of this reason, option second is your false. So basis of this first and third statement is correct. Now this is your last question for this session. I hope you understand all the questions with solution as well as explanation. If you have any queries, so please comment me. Thank you for watching.